One of the best concepts I've come across so far in making decisions is that of high percentage moves. So I've originally learned this from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the martial art, and basically what it says is that if you are fighting with an opponent, you have a lot of different options to take. So different moves, either submissions where you're trying to win, or positional changes where you're trying to get into a better position. And as you progress in the art, you can actually assign percentage values to these different options, right? So you might think, hey, I can go for the person's neck and really choke them out, and that might be a 10% move. But instead, I could also go for their arm and try to break that arm so that they give up, and that might be a 30% move. Or I could do something with their heel, and that might be a 50% move. And what you'll notice is that none of the moves are 100% because you are facing a resisting opponent, right? Same in business, same in the military, right? And so none of these moves are 100%. And this is really interesting because there's a lot of jobs where you actually expect it to be at 100%. So if you're an Uber driver, of course, if you say, hey, you got a chance of 10%, 30%, 50% that I'll drop you off at your destination, that's kind of tricky, right? So you're kind of expecting like 100% or 99% at least, so that you're being dropped off at the destination that you actually selected in the app. But in a lot of other jobs, it's not like that. And people are often confusing what game they're actually playing. So if you're in the military, if you're doing martial arts, if you're an entrepreneur, a lot of new things, if you're building products, then you don't have that 100% game where you're expected and where it's actually possible to always hit 100%. You are probably in a game where 10%, 30%, 50% might actually be good, depending on how many options you can take, how often you can run these attacks, so to speak. And so this is really extremely helpful for me to first have the permission not to have to go for 100%, because in a lot of circumstances that's not possible. But then also the knowledge to be selective of, hey, I have these three options. What kind of percentage do I assign to them so that I can pick the one that is going to be the most successful, the most likely to be successful, so that I don't waste my moves, because, you know, a move might take you 6 months of trying to build a business, and you would rather spend that on a 50% chance rather than a 10% chance.